chicken to come up here and do this last year because I thought that maybe my story wasn't really that interesting or that anybody would find it relatable. But as I listened to everybody else's stories, I realized that no matter how big and exciting my story is or how ordinary it is, somebody is going to be able to relate because I could relate to something in everyone else's. So, I'm terrified. I would rather be presenting like a tool or something to you right now, but here we go. So yes, I am a huge Friends fan, and I'm so glad there's so many of you. I grew up in Hummelstown, which is right down the road from Hershey, Chocolatown, USA. I was not supposed to be at all. After my sister was born, my mom lost 2 babies and then another set of twins and was told, that's it, you are not having any kids, it is not possible. So, by the grace of God, I surprised them with me. That is my dad and me after about 2 months in the NICU. It wasn't an easy one for my mom, and I ended up coming into the world 2 months early, and that was followed by a long stay in the NICU. And you might say I started a little behind, not that I knew any different at the time. I had delays. I was about 18 months old till I could sit on or crawl, and about 2 until I could walk. You may wonder why this is so important now, but it may explain why I always felt a little left behind, why my parents sheltered me like I should live in a bubble, and why they were so overprotective of me as I grew up. I spent my early school years just trying to catch up. Julie, stop laughing. Once in school, I was the kid who went to summer school a lot. I was pulled into those hallway closets where you got extra special help. I always felt like I was behind the 8 ball. Like the game had already started and I was still tying my shoes on the sidelines. My self-esteem was low and confidence, let's just say it hadn't entered the chat yet. I do remember my first grade teacher, that was me there in the little blue velvet shirt. Her name was Mrs. Stainbrook, and of all the teachers I had in elementary school, she was the one that made that first true impact on me, because I remember her talking to me about summer school and how it was going to help me and I was going to catch up, and just something as a first grader, I can't believe I remembered it, but it was impactful. So, foreshadowing moment, my bedroom growing up, dark purple carpet and lavender walls. Destiny? I like to think so. So let's fast forward to high school, and could I be any more average? Limited extracurriculars due to my parents' strict rules and the need to protect me from everything. No AP classes, no stacked resumes, no parents or any family members who had ever gone to college. So I wasn't winning MVP awards unless MVP stood for most vulnerable person just trying to keep up. Or maybe it was most likely to sit in the back and avoid eye contact. I was Joey trying to read Little Women. I mean, how little are they? I wasn't quite getting it. But somewhere in the middle of middle school, I had a computer class. Afterwards, for like a year, I was begging my parents for a computer, which of course was a pretty foreign thing to have in your house at that time. And after a lot of asking, they finally got me a Tandy from Radio Shack. Anyone remember? Yes. It was the most high-tech thing in our house, right next to the rotary phone and the microwave that took 5 minutes to heat up spaghetti. So that Tandy, it was the first time that I felt powerful, creative, curious, like maybe I could learn something that no one else knew yet. I started coding in middle school. Okay, now when I say coding, it's this book we bought, and I typed in every line of code just to see like a ball jump across the screen, if anybody remembers that. Very exciting! That's what Ross said in season 4, episode 1, the one with the jellyfish. Anyone following me? It was when Rachel gave him the 18-page letter. Yeah, this new skill did not take me anywhere yet, but it kept me busy, at home, and curious. All right, she pivots, and yes, in case you're wondering, this is in New York City, where you can go and play on the Friends set. Super fun. So I graduated high school, and I watched almost all my friends go to college, and it was never really even a conversation in my house. No one in my family had ever gone. So it was not even on the radar. And to this day, I am still the only person of my extended family, except for my own children, who have gone to school. I worked in a restaurant, waiting tables, just trying to figure out what in the world I was going to do next. A year later, with my parents' support, I decided I'm going to try community college. It was nearby, I was still living at home, and, well, it was rough. My grades reflected my confidence, not great. I spent 2 years battling through classes and working. I knew I wanted more, but my best just wasn't cutting it. I believe now that God had a plan for me, and that he was just biding his time. On my own, I decided it was time to get out of my house. I love my parents, and they're dear, dear people, don't get me wrong, but it was definitely a sheltered existence, I guess you could say. So I knew I wanted more, so I took it upon myself and I applied to Bloomsburg University as a transfer student, and somehow, someone decided there that I needed a chance. So, something changed. You know that moment when Ross screams, thank you. Just trying to get the couch upstairs. Well, that was me pivoting my life into teaching, and I finally started to fit. My first semester was rough. I was still figuring out how to do this on my own, but then I took my first education class, and suddenly I felt like me. Like Monica discovering labels makers and organizing her ribbon drawer, I found my happy place at BU. It still was not easy. I had to work harder than most. Every A or B I earned felt like an Olympic medal. And when I reached student teaching, all that grit paid off. I earned the Outstanding Student Teacher Award for the semester. And I will say there's a little bit of technology in there, but like seriously prehistoric stuff here. So me, the girl who used to avoid getting called on, was excelling. What? So I went from could I be any more average to being seen, recognized, like when Phoebe sings Smelly Cat and someone finally gets it. So this becomes the most important part, I feel like, of my story, because being someone who grew up really never having confidence and totally being an imposter, this is important. Everyone needs people who support you and believe in you. BU brought me more clarity in what I was meant to do. It brought me my people. 2 of my best friends came from there. You know the ones, the Monica to my Rachel, the Joey to my Chandler? I found them. My friends and my teaching soulmates. They were Michelle and Mr. Kevin Schlenker, who's sitting here right now. And then a little bit later was this other girl named Julie, who is also here, which is the coolest thing ever. These are the people that keep me grounded, make me laugh when the copier eats your original, and reminds me why we chose this profession in the first place. You're lucky if you have just one of these people, but I got 3. One is no longer with us, that's Michelle, but I know that she is whispering, no, really she's giggling in my ear anytime I need a little motivation or support. Her giggle was literally infectious. Kevin and Julie are here as stars this week, and I've been harassing them to come. Kevin for 2 years, Julie I worked on this year, but here they are. Yes, I embarrassed you both. You guys, you did wave, didn't you? Now this is metaphorically speaking, here are your gold bracelets. You know the ones, if you know, you know. So Michelle and Kevin entered my world at Bloomsburg. We became the 3 musketeers, laughing whenever we were together, commiserating when school was hard. After college, we enjoyed beach vacations with our families, and me forcing them to dress up at my yearly Christmas parties. They were and are always will be my best support and my biggest fans. So it was just after my first job at Hershey when Julie came into my world. She has become more like a sister to me than a friend over the many years of our friendship. Luckily, we got to work together at Hershey for a few years. She always made me feel like I was meant to do this job. In fact, I taught her son in 4th grade and she taught mine in 1st grade. These 2 boys just graduated in June from Hershey and are now going to be roommates at Penn State in about a month. These three humans are extremely important to my story. They inspire me to be better, and on the days when the profession drains me, which we know there are many, they keep me going, and I like to think we keep each other going. Okay, enough of the mushy stuff. Let's move on.
Yeah.
All right. The tech nerd emerges. A few years into teaching, I coded an entire website for our Pennsylvania unit. And wait for it, I won a social studies award. A plaque got hung in our school with my name on it. I had to speak for the first time in Pittsburgh in front of a room full of people. And by the way, I hated social studies. But that was the beginning. It was the climb. It's what I now lovingly call Mount Tibidabo. My personal uphill trek to where I am now. So over the years, I kind of became a tech nerd, I guess. When everyone was afraid of the internet or what to do with this Apple IIe that was on their desk, that had email, I dove right in. Like Ross and his dinosaur fossils, I collected early tech tools with the same enthusiasm, just fewer bones. After a couple years of teaching, I started grad school back at Bloomsburg. Yes, this took me a little bit longer too, but I earned my master's in instructional technology. And at this time, BU was one of the first schools to have that program, so it was really exciting. And I earned a 4.0. I got one of the first smart boards in my building, and I said yes to trying anything that lit up and try to use it in my classroom. And let me tell you, I am all in when it comes to teaching. I dress up, I act ridiculous, I make a complete fool of myself if that's what it takes for kids to get it. I teach the way I wish someone had taught me. I needed more than a book, I needed an experience. After getting my master's, the balancing act continued. I had kids, not one, not two, not three, but 4 of them. And they are my everything. And I love watching them do all the things that I didn't get to do growing up. They make my world spin, but I am blessed to have my husband Mark by my side to help slow the tilt just a bit. He is absolutely my biggest support, and I've always had to work to multitask and balance everything, and I didn't always do it very well. Sometimes I get really overwhelmed and totally analyze everything, which is not good, but I've always showed up and given 150%. So remember that back row girl who was terrified to be called on? She now presents at conferences and in services, faculty meetings. It may have started a lot later than most, but she's doing it, and yes, it still terrifies her. I went to my first P&C conference years ago as a participant, and now I've presented there a couple times this past February, in fact. And then came this nomination in 23 for this thing called KTI, which I had never heard of before. I applied and attended in 2023, and everything changed again. I found more of my people, educators who think like me, lead like me, and push you to dream bigger. You know the best part? They all have stories too. Stories worth being told, stories I can relate to that make me feel normal, like mine is important. I believe that life has a funny way of preparing you for the journey. I have a strong faith, and I believe it's led me here. I have prayed a lot over the years for guidance, direction, confidence, which I often still fight for. So, now what? I have no idea. I love teaching, but I'm still dreaming big. I'm currently working on an add-on certificate to my master's in AI and tech innovation. Do I teach at college one day? Do I consult in tech integration? Do I work with an AI company? I don't really know exactly, but here's what I do know. Some of us weren't born Rachel Green ready. Some of us were more like Chandler, a little awkward, sarcastic, trying to fake confidence. But we showed up and we kept showing up. I've always been a late bloomer, but that's okay. Because blooming late still means that you're blooming. And when you bloom in education, you help others do the same. So to all the late bloomers in the room, the tech nerds, the goofy dress-up teachers, you know, the ones who work harder than most just to keep your head above water, and you feel like you have something to prove, I see you, I am you, And if no one's told you lately, you are already the teacher you once needed. And your next episode might be your best one yet. Thank you.